Well, Elon Musk has a new CEO for Twitter lined up. Agrawal is estimated to receive 42 million if he's going to be terminated. 12 months of a change of control. So with Elon coming in, that's if he's to fire him as soon as he gets the full takeover, then that's going to be within 12 months. He'll get 42 million. My initial reaction to this was Elon no longer gives a fuck about money because 42 million is still a lot of money, but I'm even reading it thinking, oh, you'll pay 42 for that. But that's a shitload of money. And why am I brushing it off as like, yeah, he'll pay 42 mil just for a CEO change?
Yeah, but it's like a drop in the park compared to what he paid for Twitter.
That's what I mean. That's how crazy it is that he's just got so much money.
Yeah.
But yeah, what do you think about it? I think it's a good idea. I think, apart from the money part of it, which kind of took me by storm, changing the CEO, he's making big changes in there with free speech. So I think out with the old, in with the new, right?
Yeah, I think he wants to make some big changes on Twitter, so he's going to have to restructure the leadership at Twitter, and obviously start with the chief exec and work your way down, I guess. It's clear that he's got a certain idea, direction he wants to take Twitter in, and the current direction it's going down does not follow the path he wants to take it. Elon's a clever guy. He knows he's not just bought Twitter to keep Twitter how it is.
Yeah.
If Twitter stayed how it was, I don't think it would reach its full potential. So I feel like sort of him getting rid of the CEO and bringing in his own guy is kind of expected.
Yeah.
And 42 mil, it's a lot of money, like to me and you, but to Elon, it's
pocket change.
Yeah, and for the value, if he sees value in Twitter, which obviously he does see value in Twitter,
yeah,
at 42 million, he's just going to think, all right, I'm going to spend 42 million now. I've already spent 44 billion. I'm going to spend an extra 42 billion to get rid of the CEO, but I'm going to change Twitter, and it's going to be in 5-10 years time, it's going to be worth this much.
Yeah. Like, can you see from? Sorry, carry on. Finish here.
No, go on.
From what we were saying before about Meta being the new Facebook for the metaverse, can you see Elon? Because he needs to have a play in the metaverse, right? He's got to have one. Do you think he's using Twitter as his play into the metaverse?
Potentially.
He might do the exact. He might have. What Mark Zuckerberg did with Facebook might have shocked, turning Facebook into Meta for the metaverse. Might have shocked Elon into thinking he's going to be behind because they're racing, right? To always be at the top. He might have felt like he's going to be a bit behind, so he needs to do something drastic. It's hard with Elon because you never know what his actual vision is for something. He makes so many jokes for his marketing purposes.
Yeah.
You don't actually know.
A bit of a persona in the public.
Yeah.
But obviously he's not. He's a clever guy, so he knows exactly what he's doing. And I think potentially he could look at moving Twitter into the metaverse. Which I never really thought of that, but it does make sense. He's a future thinker, and he obviously sees some kind of value there. And moving it into sort of the Web 3.0 realm makes a lot of sense. And he might have had a chat with his current CEO, and the current CEO doesn't believe in it or wants to continue how things are. But in this fast-changing world, you can't really continue. Like, it works now, but is it going to work in 5 years' time? Is it going to work in 10 years' time?
Yeah.
Probably not. Things are going to change massively from now to then.
And that's what's going to start happening with that's what is happening with CEOs now anyway. They're coming into businesses And as technology in the world's advancing at such a fast rate, what a CEO's come into a big corporation to do, that job is going to take them less amount of time each time as everything else progresses. So, like what Bezos did with Amazon and AWS, just when it gets to a certain, when you hit the roof of a corporation, a certain CEO, it's time for them to move on to their next project and get someone else to take them that step further. And that's obviously what's going on with Twitter.
You sort of need that fresh thinking to come in, fresh leader to direct the company and take it to its next level. Once CEO's sort of done his job, built up to a certain point, maintained it, and then it's ready for the transition period for the next sort of generation of leaders to come in and start moving things forward. So I get this guy, the current. This is the first time I've seen the current CEO of Twitter.
All right,
seems like quite a young chap.
Should we see how old he is?
So you'd expect him to like have a bit more of a future kind of focus.
37 years old.
Yeah, he's not that old to be a CEO.
That is young, yeah. If Jack Dorsey, the owner's 45, Satya Nadella is 54. I thought he was younger than that. I mean, there's definitely a bigger play with Twitter than free speech.
Yeah, 100%. I think free speech is sort of the change here and now, but then he's got other plans for it, definitely.
Yeah, and I think it's good that he's doing free speech, and I get why he agrees with it. But I can't help but think he's using that as a marketing tool to just promote a big change with Twitter. It gets so much attention on him buying Twitter. It's ridiculous the amount of attention it's got.
I think what he's noticed is, so I feel like advocates of censorship are a small minority in the general population, but they're a small minority with the loudest mouths. So on Twitter, it may feel like everybody's against Elon and this free speech, but if you go around and you talk to general people, they're going to agree with free speech and want free speech.
Yeah.
They just don't shout about it on social media.
Yeah.
So I think he understands that, and he knows if he starts talking about free speech and buying Twitter and sort of advocating free speech through Twitter, he's going to get a lot of people on his side.
Yeah.
Because you can see some of the biggest podcast in the world, Joe Rogan. He's a massive advocate of free speech, and he's the biggest podcast in the world. So there are people out there who agree with those. The majority of people agree with those views just from looking at the stats.
Yeah. Because they wouldn't follow him otherwise. Yeah,
they wouldn't follow him. Russell Brand, how much he's grown.
Yeah.
Like
Ben Shapiro. He's flying up, yeah.
All these influencers or podcast hosts, I don't know what you want to call them.
They are technically influencers, aren't they? They do influence the masses.
Yeah. They do. The ones that are growing seem to be the ones that are advocating for free speech and democracy. So I think Elon's noticed the trend and jumped on.
Yeah, there's a bit of a power shift coming for people's voices because it's been, well, free speech, it's been a leftist who've sort of had the bigger voice for a long time, and only in recent years it's I don't know if that's just for me or in general, but it's coming to light now that the right wing have got more of a say in.
I used to think it's just me and you, and then some of the people we talk to. But then when you actually look at the numbers, and if you think about Joe Rogan being the biggest podcast in the world, he's it makes sense that there's a lot more people out there who believe and have the same sort of views as us.
Yeah. Well,
and it's all hidden behind the people that talk the loudest on social media and corporatism.
Yeah, well, corporatism's a massive one.
Yeah, and I think that's the biggest, like, sort of corporations are the biggest ones that sort of skew our view on what society want.
Well, like Twitter, like is a massive example. Is the example for it. Like they shut down Alex Jones. They shut down Donald Trump.
Yeah,
Ex-president. They banned him off Twitter.
and you think, like, because they're doing this, society in general doesn't want it. But if you actually look at the numbers of, like I said, Joe Rogan, like, society doesn't want censorship. It wants free speech. It wants to be able to listen to alternative views. It wants everything. Plug.
It is true though. Yeah, it's a good move. I think anything that I'm a fan of Elon, so I think anything that he does is going to be. It's going to be good. It's going to be exciting. He's not just going to buy Twitter. Okay, everyone can do free speech now. There's definitely more to come. So this part of the podcast is here to stay.
Yeah,
because there's going to be.
I think it's going to be a segment on every podcast.
Yeah,
Twitter and Elon.
Shall I whack?
I do feel like I read a lot of articles about Elon.
I feel like whenever I start just doing some article searching for the show or just in general, there's always Elon on every website, without a doubt.